The sun was hot. The ground was dry and cracked. Wind blew red dust across the empty wasteland. Nothing lived here, no trees, no water, no people. But someone was walking alone. A young man named Jace moved across the sand with a long coat and dusty boots. He had a small bag on his back and a broken scanner in his hand. He was a scavenger. He searched for old machines, metal, or anything useful from the past wars. Suddenly, the scanner beeped. Jace stopped. He looked up. A loud boom shook the sky. Something was falling fast. A black trail of smoke followed it. The thing crashed far away, and the ground trembled. Jace ran toward the smoke. The crash site was strange. A silver pod, half buried in the dirt, hissed with steam. It looked like a small escape ship. Its surface was burned. Lights on the side blinked slowly. One door was broken, hanging open. Jace stepped closer, hand on his knife. He didn't trust anything that fell from the sky. Then he heard a sound, a weak cry. A voice. He moved carefully and looked inside the pod. A girl was inside. She had light purple skin and long silver hair. Her clothes were torn and dirty. She was shaking and holding her arm. Her face was full of fear. She looked at Jace with wide, glowing blue eyes. Please, she whispered in a soft, strange voice. Jace froze. He had never seen an alien this close. Most people said aliens were monsters. But she didn't look like a monster. She looked scared and hurt. Who are you? Jace asked. She didn't understand. She tried to speak, but her words were broken, her voice weak. Then, slowly, she crawled out of the pod and dropped to her knees in front of him. She bowed her head and raised both hands, as if begging. Jace didn't know what to do. He looked around. There was no one else here. No ships, no signs, just this girl. Alone. He sighed. Great. What now? The girl tried to stand, but her legs shook. She almost fell. Jace stepped forward and caught her before she hit the ground. Her skin felt cold. You'll die out here, he said. If you're not already dying. He didn't want to help. He didn't even know if this was a trap. But something inside him, maybe his human heart, told him to give her a chance. He carried her on his back. She was light, like a feather. He walked back to his small shelter in the rocks, a hidden place he used while scavenging. That night, the wind howled outside. Jace gave the girl a blanket and some water. She drank slowly, still shaking. He made a small fire. Name? He asked. She blinked. Your name? He repeated, pointing to himself. Jace, me, Jace. She looked at him, then placed her hand on her chest. Leary, she said. Leary. He repeated. She nodded. Jace sat down and looked at her. What are you? Where did you come from? Leary looked afraid. She pointed up at the stars. Then, she pointed to herself, then made an X over her chest with her hands. You ran away? Jace guessed. From something bad? She nodded fast. Tears filled her eyes. Then she did something strange. She got up slowly, stood in front of him, and bowed deeply. She then dropped to her knees and placed her forehead to the ground. What are you doing? Jace asked. She looked up. Her voice was shaking. I serve you, she said slowly. What? No, you don't have to. I beg, stay safe. I serve you, she repeated. Jace felt confused. She wasn't just asking for help. She was offering herself as a servant. Or maybe something worse. No, he said. You don't belong to anyone. Not me. You're free. Leary looked sad. Not free, she whispered. They come soon. Who? She looked toward the sky, eyes full of fear. Hunters. Jace stood up. Something about the way she said that word made his skin crawl. He stepped outside and looked up at the stars. The sky was quiet now, but deep inside he felt something coming. Something dangerous stood behind him. Leary sat quietly watching him. She didn't know this world. She didn't know this man. But she knew one thing. He was her last hope. Asterisk. The night was cold. Inside the rocky shelter, Jace slept with one eye open. His hand stayed close to his knife. The fire was dying, and the wind howled outside like a ghost. But something else made him wake up. A strange sound. Soft. Like whispering. Not words, but more like a song. A voice humming in the dark. Jace. He opened his eyes. Leary was standing near the fire. She wasn't asleep. Her eyes were glowing faint blue. Her silver hair moved, even though there was no wind. She raised her hands slowly, as if reaching for something in the air. Jace sat up fast. "Leary?" She didn't answer. Then she turned her head slightly. Her voice came out soft but cold. "They are near." Jace froze. "Who's near?" "But." She didn't say more. Her body shook. Her eyes rolled back. She fell to the ground. Jace rushed to her. "Leary, wake up." She blinked, confused. Where?" "You were sleepwalking," Jace said. "And you said someone's coming." Leary looked terrified. She pulled back into a corner and wrapped her arms around her knees. I don't remember," she whispered. In the morning, Jace packed quickly. He didn't like what happened last night. Something was wrong. Leary walked beside him slowly. She was weak but trying to keep up. As they moved across the desert, Jace spoke. "What happened to you, Leary? What's really going on?" Leary looked down. She didn't answer. Hours passed. They found an old broken ship in the sands. Jace checked the inside for supplies. I touched a control panel. Suddenly, the screen lit up. Strange alien code ran across it. Jace looked shocked. "You activated it?" Leary nodded. "I remember this tech. It's mine." Jace crossed his arms. "You said you were just a servant." "I am," she said quietly, "but servants don't control old ships or speak to stars in their sleep." Leary sat down. She looked tired and sad. She finally said, "They made me. Not born, created, in lab." Jace stared at her. "What do you mean created, my people?" "Take DNA, mix it, make girls like me, pretty, obedient, smart, not free." She looked at him with tears in her glowing eyes. "I was trained to follow, not to think, but I wanted more. I escaped. They hunt me now." Jace didn't know what to say. He never imagined something like this. "You're telling me they built you like a machine?" "No," she said. "I feel pain. I feel fear. I am real." Jace nodded slowly. "You're not a machine. You're alive. You're human in a way." Leary's face softened. She touched her chest. "I want to live, not as tool." Suddenly, the scanner beeped again. Something was moving in the distance. They hid inside the old shipwreck. Jace looked through broken glass. A dark object flew low in the sky. A black drone with blinking red lights. It hovered, scanning the land. Leary whispered, "Hunter drone. They find energy, DNA. Smell me." Jace grabbed his bag. "We have to move now." They escaped out the back of the shipwreck, just as the drone passed overhead. As they ran, Leary began to stumble. Her body started to glow again, this time brighter, hotter. "Leary, what's happening to you?" I can't stop it. My power wakes up when I'm scared." A strange pulse of light burst from her hands. The sand under her feet turned to glass for a second. Jace stared, speechless. "You're dangerous." Leary looked at her hands. "I didn't want this. I was made to control minds. My creators used me to lead their army. But I escaped before. They turned me into a weapon." Jace was silent for a moment. Then he said, "So, are you a danger to me?" Leary looked into his eyes. "No, you are kind. Only human who helps me." Jace sighed. We need to hide, and fast, if they find you. Leary grabbed his hand suddenly. Please, don't leave me. He looked at her, really looked, not as an alien, not as a weapon, but as someone scared. And alone. He nodded. I won't. That night, they hid deep inside a cave. Outside, drones searched with red lights. Inside, Leary slept close to the fire. Jace sat near the entrance, guarding her. He looked at her and whispered, You're not just some poor alien girl. You're something much more. But what he didn't know was this. They were not only hunting her. They were coming for anyone who helped her, and Jace had just made himself their enemy. It started with silence. Too quiet. No wind. No birds. Not even the sound of the desert. Jace felt it before he saw anything. A strange pressure in the air. Like the world was holding its breath. Then the ground shook. Far above the cave, the sky cracked open with a roar. A massive black ship dropped from the clouds like a falling god. Its engines burned blue fire. Its shape was sharp like a blade. On the side was a symbol, 2 red eyes inside a silver circle. Leary saw it and froze. She whispered one word, full of fear. Dominers. Jace pulled her deeper into the cave. Is that who's hunting you? Leary nodded. They rule 10 planets. They take slaves. I was made by them. Jace clenched his jaw. They found us. As the ship hovered above, dark pods fell from its belly. Hunter units. The pods opened as they hit the ground. Tall alien soldiers in black armor stepped out. Their faces were hidden behind smooth masks. Each one carried a weapon that hissed with red light. Jace counted 6. All moving in formation. All heading toward the cave. They were not here to talk. Time to go. Jace grabbed his bag and helped Leary up. They rushed through the narrow back tunnels of the cave. Behind them, the soldiers entered with glowing visors and scanners. One soldier touched the cave wall. Recent human footprints, it said, a robotic voice. She is close. Jace and Leary emerged on the far side of the rocks. His hoverbike was hidden under a tarp. He pulled it out fast and jumped on. Get on. Leary held onto him tightly. Her skin shimmered with stress. As the bike roared to life. A red laser blasted the rock beside them. Boom! They see us. Jace shouted. The chase had begun. They sped across the wasteland. Red dust flew behind them. The black soldiers chased them on sleek hoverboards, faster than anything Jace had ever seen. Too fast, he shouted. Hold on. Leary looked back. I slow them down. No, you'll get hurt. But it was too late. I raised one hand. The wind shifted. Sand twisted in the air like a cyclone. Her eyes turned silver. Suddenly, the earth behind them exploded upward, a wave of dust and glass. The hunters were thrown off balance. Jace stared in shock. What did you just do? Leary fell weak against him. Not control, just protect. They stopped at an old gas tower half buried in sand. Jace helped Leary inside. She was breathing hard. You shouldn't use your power like that, he said. I looked down. If I don't, they catch us. Jace walked to the window. The hunters weren't far behind. He knew it. They would track them again. They always did. We need help, he said. From who? Leary asked. Jace looked out at the wasteland. There's one person I can try. An old rebel. He owes me. Hours later, they reached a hidden bunker built into a canyon wall. Jace knocked on a metal door in a secret pattern. A red eye scanned him. Go away. A grumpy voice said, It's Jace. I have something you need to see. Silence. Then the door opened with a loud hiss. An old man with one robotic arm stood inside. His name was Kel. He looked at Leary. That's an alien. She's more than that, Jace said. She's being hunted by the Dominers. We need answers. Kel snorted. I don't help strangers. She's not a stranger, Jace said. She's a secret, a weapon, a prisoner. And I think she might be the key to something big. Kel scanned Leary's blood with the device. When he saw the results, his eyes went wide. This isn't just alien tech in her. This is royal code. She was made using Dominion high DNA. She was meant to command armies. Leary looked scared. I don't want war. I want to live. Kel sat back. Well, girl, the Dominion wants you back because you're their stolen queen. Jace looked at her in shock. Queen? He whispered. I didn't answer. Tears ran down her cheeks. I never asked to be this. I just want to be free. Jace looked at her and made a silent promise. He would help her fight, even if it meant starting a war. Asterisk, the machines in the lab made soft clicking sounds. Inside Kel's hidden bunker, Leary sat on a cold metal table. Wires were connected to her arms and head. A glowing scanner circled above her, blinking blue lights. Jace watched from the corner, arms crossed, eyes sharp. He didn't trust machines. He trusted people even less. But this was the only way to learn the truth. Kel stared at the screen. His face was pale. This can't be right. He whispered. Jace stepped forward. What is it? Kel turned. His voice was low. Serious. She's not just any creation. She's not just some escaped girl. He pointed at the screen. Her DNA, it matches the Dominion High Council. She's royal. Jace blinked. Royal? Like a princess? No, Kel said. Worse, she's a living control system. A prototype built to lead armies, built to control minds. Jace looked at Leary. She sat still, silent. Her eyes were closed. But one tear slid down her cheek. 6 years ago, Dominion Lab, planet Virix lights flashed. Scientists worked fast. Soldiers stood guard. In a glass tube, a small girl floated, eyes closed, silver hair drifting in blue liquid. One general said, "This is Project Leary. She will be our voice, our hand, our weapon." Another nodded. She will lead the next war. With her, no one can resist. But that girl had thoughts of her own. She didn't want to be a weapon. She only wanted to be free. Back in the present, Jace sat with Leary while Kel checked the files. Leary opened her eyes slowly. You know now what I am. Jace didn't answer right away. She whispered, You're afraid of me. No, he said. I'm angry, not at you, at them. They made you like this. You didn't choose it. Leary looked down. I don't know how to be normal. Then learn, Jace said. Start small. Learn how to be free. Kel walked over, holding a datapad. There's more. He handed it to Jace. This was hidden deep in her system. A command protocol. What does it do? If activated, Kel said, she could take control of any Dominion ship within 10 miles. No codes needed. Her body was designed to override them. Jace looked at Leary. You could turn their whole fleet against them? Leary shook her head. I don't want to. If I use that power, I change. I feel empty, like I'm not me anymore. Jace put a hand on her shoulder. Then we don't use it. Not unless we have to. Suddenly, a loud beep echoed through the bunker. Red lights flashed. Kel checked a screen. They found us. Outside, the canyon shook. The black ship had returned. But this time, it didn't land. Instead, it dropped something huge, a new kind of hunter, twice as tall as a man, covered in black armor. Its eyes glowed blood red. Prototype unit, Leary said, her voice shaking. They made it to capture me. Jace grabbed his blaster. Then they're not leaving with you. They ran through the back tunnel of the bunker. As they escaped, the walls shook with blasts. The giant hunter smashed its way inside, scanning for Leary. Kel stayed behind, typing commands fast. Jace shouted, Come with us. Kel shook his head. I'll slow them down. Now go. The door closed behind them. Seconds later, a huge explosion lit the sky. Kel was gone. Leary stared at the fire in silence. He died for me? Jace nodded. Yeah, he believed you were worth it. Later, they camped near a broken tower in the dark desert. Leary sat beside the fire. She was quiet. Jace handed her some water. You okay? She looked at him. Why do you keep helping me? Because I've seen enough people get used, thrown away. You deserve a chance. She touched her chest. Even if I'm made. Not born? You're still a person, not a thing. Leary's eyes shimmered in the firelight. Then I will. Fight, not to kill, but to protect. Jace smiled. Good, because they're coming, and next time we fight back. In the sky above them, a new signal blinked in space. A message from the Dominion. Project Leary, priority capture. Use deadly force if needed. They had just declared war, and Earth was next. It began with laughter. Warm, real, human laughter. For the first time in days, Jace and Leary weren't running. They sat around a small campfire near the edge of the scrapyard town called Rust Hollow. People here didn't ask questions. They traded. Food and parts, not stories. Jace handed Leary a cracked metal cup. You ever had coffee before? Leary sniffed it. Smells like old boots. Jace laughed. She tried to smile, still learning what fun felt like. In that moment, she didn't feel like a weapon. She felt alive. Safe. But safety is always a lie in a broken galaxy. Someone was watching them. A man in a long brown coat stood on a rooftop, looking through binoculars. He had a metal jaw and cold, gray eyes. His name was Ren. He knew who the girl was, and he had just sent a signal to the Dominion. The next day, Jace brought Leary to a hidden safe house beneath an old junk factory. An old friend had promised them shelter. That friend was Ren. Leary didn't trust him. She stood close to Jace and whispered. His eyes feel wrong. Jace replied. I've known him for years. He's helped me before. But even Jace didn't know Ren used to work for the Dominion. And now, he was about to collect the highest bounty in the galaxy. At night, Jace went out to find food. I stayed in the room alone. That's when the door locked from the outside. She stood up. Jace? No answer. Then gas hissed from the vents. Leary coughed, fell to her knees. Her hands glowed, but her power was weak from the drug in the air. She reached for the door. Too late. Jace returned and found Ren waiting outside the safe house with guards. What's going on? Jace asked. Ren smirked. You trusted me. That was your first mistake. Jace's eyes narrowed. Where is she? Ren pointed to the sky. A black Dominion shuttle rose from the roof, engines burning. Jace ran too late. Leary was gone. Inside the shuttle, Leary lay in a stasis cage, cold blue light around her body. She was awake but frozen. Eyes open, mouth unable to scream. Across from her sat a Dominion officer. He smiled. You belong to us. Back on the ground, Jace stood in the ruins of the safe house. Anger boiled in his chest. He stared at Ren, who now pointed a gun at him. You won't survive this, Ren said. I don't need to, Jace replied. Just long enough to stop you. He pulled out a small EMP grenade and dropped it. Boom. The blast knocked them both down. Machines died. Ren's gun sparked and fell apart. Jace vanished into the smoke. Later, he sat alone in a cave, hands shaking. He had failed. They took her. He didn't know where, didn't know what they would do. But he did know one thing. He was going to get her. Back on the Dominion ship, Leary's cage opened in a dark lab. Straps held her arms down. Machines circled her head. Needles moved closer. The scientist in charge smiled. We gave you freedom once. Now we take it back. He pushed a button. Leary screamed. Power exploded from her body, but the cage absorbed it. Her light dimmed. In a Control room above, a Dominion commander watched the screen. Begin reprogramming. She will lead our Earth invasion as planned. But what none of them knew. Leary wasn't breaking. She was remembering the one human who looked at her not as a tool, but as a person. And with every scream, her anger grew. Back on Earth, Jace walked toward a rebel base deep in the canyons. He wore dark armor now. Cold eyes, a map of Dominion ships, burned into his screen. They took her. They thought she was weak. They were wrong. He was going to make them. Pay. Asterisk darkness. Silence. Pain. That single quotes. All Leary felt. Her body floated in thick liquid inside a glass tube. Wires ran into her arms, her spine, her head. Machines beeped softly around her. She couldn't move. She couldn't scream. But inside her mind, something had changed. A voice echoed in her head, her own voice. They made you. They used you. But you are not theirs. A memory flashed. Jace. Smiling, calling her strong. Calling her human. Another voice, this one cold and cruel, spoke from outside the tube. She will be ready soon, the Dominion general said. Once the reprogramming finishes, she will obey only us. A machine beside him showed a countdown. 4 minutes to complete sync. They thought they had broken her. They were wrong. Back on Earth, inside a secret rebel base, Jace stood before a table. Covered in maps and Dominion codes. Around him, rebel fighters gathered. You sure about this? One asked. That ship's too strong. No way in or out. Jace looked up. His voice was low, hard. They took her. I'm getting her back. Another fighter said. You'd risk everything for one girl. Jace stared at him. She's not just one girl. She's the reason they're afraid. In space, the Dominion flagship moved slowly above Earth. Inside, Leary opened her eyes. The sync was almost done. 3 minutes left. But her heartbeat changed. Faster. Stronger. A small flicker of light formed in her chest. Her eyes, dim for days, began to glow again. Blue. Then silver. Then pure white. The machine's screen blinked. Warning. Power surge detected. A guard stepped forward. Is she waking up? The scientist replied, impossible. The cage suppresses her energy. The glass began to crack. Inside her mind, Leary stood in a memory. She saw herself as a child alone in a lab. Then she saw the day she escaped. The day she met Jace. The day he refused to let her call herself a servant. You are not a tool, he said. You are free. The memory shattered. Leary screamed. Outside her tube, everything exploded. Light burst from her body, tearing through the wires, the walls, the guards. The cage shattered like glass. She floated above the wreckage, her body surrounded by glowing symbols. Ancient code burned into her skin. Her voice rang out, not soft anymore, strong, echoing. I am not your servant. A wave of energy blasted through the ship. Lights flickered. Systems crashed. She dropped to the floor, breathing hard. The alarm screamed. Contain her. The general shouted. Dozens of armed soldiers ran in. Leary raised one hand. She didn't attack. She simply spoke. Leave. The soldiers froze, then dropped their weapons and knelt. The control system inside her, the one meant to control others, obeyed her instead. She didn't need violence. She had power over their very will, but she didn't want to rule. She only wanted to escape. Back on Earth, Jace flew a stolen shuttle toward the ship. Fighters followed him, dodging Dominion fire. Suddenly, the Dominion ship began to shake. What's going on? His pilot shouted. Jac. He saw through the window. Light was spilling from inside the ship. From one person. Liri. Inside the ship. Leary walked calmly through the halls. Doors opened for her without a touch. The general stood in her path, trembling. You were made to obey. She looked at him. I was made to feel nothing, but I learned what it means to care. That is something you will never understand. She touched his forehead. A soft glow. He dropped unconscious, not dead. She spared him. The ship's doors opened. A ramp lowered. Jace ran up to her, breathless. "You okay?" She smiled. "I'm ready now." "For what?" "To fight, not as a servant, but as myself." They held hands. Behind them, the Dominion ship lit up like a star, its systems still. Under her control, she looked up at the fleet above Earth, and she whispered, "Let's show them what a servant girl can really do." The stars above Earth began to vanish. Not from darkness, but from warships. A Dominion fleet had arrived, hundreds of ships. Their engines glowed red, their weapons aimed down. A voice echoed from the command ship, "You have 1 hour to surrender the prototype, or Earth will burn." On the ground, people watched the sky in fear. In bunkers. In cities. In silence. But inside the Dominion flagship, something had changed. Leary now stood where the commander once ruled. At her side was Jace, blaster ready. Eyes focused, Leary touched the control panel. Lights shifted. The ship's AI paused, confused. Her voice was calm, steady. "This ship now listens to me." Jace smiled. "Let's give Earth a reason to hope." They sent a message. Simple, clear. "We're not giving her back. She's not your weapon anymore. You want her? Come take her." In the rebel base, fighters cheered. On Earth, screens lit up in every city. For the first time, the people saw her face, not as a threat, but as a symbol. The alien girl who once begged to be a servant was now ready to lead the fight. The Dominion didn't wait. Their ships moved in. Cannons charged. The sky turned red. But Leary raised her hand inside the command ship. "I'm done hiding." With one word, release, her power spread through the fleet. Ships twisted in mid-air. Weapons shut down. Some Dominion pilots dropped their hands, eyes wide. Their systems were frozen. Her control code was stronger than theirs. Jace shouted into the comms, "Now all fighters go. We've got their shields down." Human ships launched from Earth, scrapyard jets, rebel cruisers, even civilian crafts. United for one fight. Leary didn't attack from rage. She guided. She protected. She only disabled what she had to. But one Dominion dreadnought fired anyway. A beam of red light shot toward Earth's surface. She saw it. Too far to stop, unless she used the final part of herself. The part that wasn't meant to survive. Jace grabbed her hand. "Don't do it. You'll burn yourself out." Leary looked at him, softly said, "You taught me freedom. Now I'll use it to protect what matters." She stepped forward. Her whole body began to shine. Her skin, her eyes pure light. Symbols of old code lifted off her arms like ash in the wind. She whispered something. Not in any language. A wave of light burst from her body and raced into the beam. The red energy vanished, absorbed. She fell to her knees. Jace caught her. The Dominion fleet stopped. Shocked. Leaderless. Broken. One by one. Their ships powered down. The war was over. 1 week later. The sun rose over Earth. People repaired what was broken. They built new alliances, with Leary as the bridge. She stood at a quiet hill outside the city, beside Jac. No more wires, no cages, no orders. Just wind and sky. He looked at her. "So, what now? You still want to be someone's servant?" She smiled. "No, I want to be something better." "What's that?" "A friend. A fighter. A girl who chose her own path." Jace nodded. "That's more than enough." And across the stars, in secret corners of the galaxy, others like Leary watched her message, listened to her voice, and whispered to themselves, "If she can fight, maybe we can too."